Ladies and gentlemen, we have always had villains and we never particularly felt sorry for them. But this time is actually different. I feel sorry for Doomsday, ladies and gentlemen. Now, what I'm about to talk about here is a huge spoiler warning for season 4 of Superman and Lois. So if you guys didn't get a chance to see this season or any season of Superman and Lois, this is your warning. Please turn this video off and go watch something else, or matter of fact, go watch the series. So that way you could come back here and reflect on what you guys seen and what you thought about the series in the comment section of this video. Now, for those of you that are staying, obviously you have been caught up. So make sure to leave a like, also comment down below, and subscribe if you're new. So, as I mentioned, you don't particularly feel sorry for villains, but this time around, I actually feel sorry for Doomsday because we've seen in episode 9 that he was actually in Smallville this whole entire time, and he was trying to go back home. He was at the mines. So when Lex tracked him down, we saw him just like unleashing all of his powers on the mines and trying to reopen the portal. And like I said, you really feel sorry for this guy because remember, he came over here courtesy of Ali Austin. You know what I'm saying? And then Superman, he went all solar powered and destroyed the connection to the Mirrorverse, and that has left Bizarro stuck here. Then Bizarro had to forcibly be killed by Lex, and if you guys remember, everything is basically backwards in the form of language to him. So this entire time he could have been telling, Lex like, "No, I really don't want this to happen," but yeah, over here it's like no means yes and yes means no. You know what I'm saying? So he ends up killing him and creating this monstrous creature that we known as Doomsday. Now, Doomsday has been teased since like season 2 of Superman and Lois, so it was eventually going to happen. You know what I mean? The man in the spacesuit that came through the mines, very, very heavy on the reference to Doomsday. It even looked like Doomsday. But nonetheless, to say, we get this final form here. So Lex gets to kill him one last time, and he comes out of the mines looking like this right here. Super comic book accurate. This show is literally incredible, bro. So perfect, so amazing. The storylines, the characters, the character development, you know what I mean? The ships that we make, with Kyle and Chrissy. There has been so many things just going on with this series. But back to Doomsday here. So now, with him trying to go back home, he can't because the connection has been, it's been taken apart by Superman. So now he's physically stuck here and he does not want to be here because what's happening here is he's being tortured and abused just for power. You know what I'm saying? Like Lex doesn't really care for this creature as a friend. He just wants to use him as his muscle because he can't face off against Superman as a human. You know what I mean? So it makes sense. Now, with Doomsday in this total path of destruction for the final episode, we don't know exactly what's going to happen. Is Superman actually going to win this time? Or is he going to die and he won't come back ever? Because this is the last episode, so anything and everything could possibly happen. We already seen him die. We already seen him come back. But according to John Henry Irons, there's going to be one day where he wakes up and he won't be Superman anymore. Now, obviously, since he said that, he still has been Superman. He's just been slow on reaction timing, and he hasn't been as strong as he, quote unquote, was. But with this final fight, and of course with the leaked photos of behind the scenes things and the little teaser trailers and basically Twitter and Facebook and Reddit, everyone working together to, tie together this final plot, it could be possible that he could actually get the upper hand on Doomsday. But of course, he's still going to have to face off against Lex Luthor in his Death War suit that has been souped up with kryptonite. So this is literally going to be the fight for his life. It was already previously the fight for his life, but this is literally the final fight for his life. Amazing, incredible. Um, but like I said, I've never really felt anything for a villain before, and you feel for this. When you look at Bizarro's backstory of what he was on his universe, you know what I'm saying? Publicly, Superman, he was adored by many, and then, things happened at home which caused him to, you know, go in the opposite direction. He started taking the XK, and, things weren't good for him there. But then he came over here to, sort of like aid Allie Austin in her situation. And then he, sort of realized that eh, he's fighting on the wrong side. You know what I mean? So eventually, when he wanted to go back home, he couldn't. He was forced to stay here. And then, he was discovered by Bruno Mannheim. Bruno, experimented on him, did things to him. And then Lex came in and took over and destroyed the fabric of Bizarro. But it still existed in there somewhere deep down inside. And we seen that explored when Lois came to Doomsday and asked Doomsday to leave her family alone, to not kill them. Doomsday looked her in the eyes and then he took off and flew away. Now, with that being said, if he is able to recognize Lois and not attack her, that just tells you that Bizarro is still in there and he needs help. You know what I mean? And this is exactly what Superman was trying to do. He never intentionally wanted to kill Doomsday. He wanted to cure him and get Bizarro back. But obviously, there was no way to undo the transformation. So, like I mentioned several times already, you feel bad for him. So, what do you think is going to be the fate of Doomsday this time? Because now he has been like sort of like reprogrammed, quote unquote. You know what I mean? Lex came in here and remind him of his purpose of being here and his purpose of being unstoppable and unkillable and things of that nature. And then now when we see him, he has his final stare down with Lois. He actually emits fire out of his breath as he wanted to kill her. Thankful enough, she had her super twin boys there to speed her away. She could have been crucified right there in the streets. Kind of crazy. But now, like I said, he's in this, whole sort of like warpath destruction sequence where he's destroying everything. He's uncontrollable. What do you think is going to happen? Do you think he's going to kill Superman and then go after Lex? Comment down below because I think that would be very, very interesting if Doomsday ends up killing Superman and then he goes after Lex because Lex turned him into this. You know what I mean? What if he has those little memory flashes like he had previously where he was remembering his bizarro life on the other world? Now, let's talk about something else here. So, as this is the series finale, we are going to be paying homage to the Arrowverse, ladies and gentlemen. Now, there is supposed to be a cameo appearance of a character. Now, we do know that we just recently got Tom Cavanaugh to play Gordon Godfrey. So that was technically, quote unquote, an Arrowverse cameo. And we did get in an earlier season John Diggle. So that was a John Diggle of the Superman universe, and he wasn't basically Spartan, but he did work with Argus. So, who do you think will appear to close out this series? Now, if I am assuming here, the best option would be to go the Melissa Benoist Supergirl option, introduce, you know, Superman's cousin. If you're doing the death of Superman, maybe she appears for a funeral And maybe this will be like her first public appearance. You know what I'm saying? She gets to meet the boys. She gets to meet Lois. You know what I mean? It could be that sort of situation that would make the perfect sequence of events to connect something. And if you guys also remember, Superman originally started out and appeared on the Supergirl series back in the Arrowverse. Now that Superman and Lois was officially confirmed in season 2 to exist in its own continuity in its own Earth and not connected to the Arrowverse, it could be possible that they can introduce a multiverse version, aka a doppelganger, of his cousin, and maybe she's here, on a Phantom Zone, and she just now came out. You know what I'm saying? So she hasn't gotten a chance to actually meet her cousin. It could very much be that sort of situation. Now, we also have in this picture Oliver. Now, if you are paying homage to the Arrowverse, why not start with the person that started it all, right? This was the first original show that's opened up the doors for the multiverse. And if you want to get technical, obviously Flash technically opened up that multiverse situation with Zoom and then creating breaches to other worlds and crisis and all that shit. But if you are going to pay homage, I would say go towards the route of maybe introducing Oliver Queen. Now, he could be in a doppelganger form of, like maybe he's not even Oliver Queen on this earth. Maybe he's known as Bruce Wayne, and that's how you introduce Batman or some shit like that. It would be cool. Super cool to go that route. Now, obviously, on the Arrowverse perspective, he is no longer Oliver Queen. He is known as the Spectre. So, in order for him to actually appear in the Spectre form, something has to be happening in the multiverse, like large scale happening, like crisis happening, something that could threaten all worlds, like when he appeared in The Flash to take on Ramsey. um, that was a multiversal threat because he was sending out his little nasty virus to all of the worlds. So that made Oliver appear and stop him. Now, in this particular case, Doomsday, he could potentially destroy that universe, but it wouldn't have anything to do with Oliver. You know what I'm saying? Like he wouldn't step in for something like that. I at least don't think he would. But if you are going to pay homage, yeah, maybe introduce Oliver Queen. Maybe he was secretly a vigilante this whole time, operating in the dark, and no one knew. But when it comes down to Superman's universe, according to Superman, as he listed in the last episode, he has always been working alone. You know what I mean? Fighting alone. So that means that there is no Justice League. There is no other heroes, no other vigilantes. So it'll be a huge stretch to try to go for a vigilante like Oliver or a vigilante like Batwoman or a vigilante like Sarah Lance. So I do think that the smartest route they could go could be introducing Supergirl. And if you want to go, extraterrestrial, you could go with Barry. Maybe he's working on his speed and he accidentally ends up on Superman's Earth, just like he did, ironically, in Supergirl. He ended up working on his speed and opened up a breach and ended up on Earth 38, and he was stuck there. And then he had to, um, get Kara's help to send him back home. So that could be a very much same situation they could do with Superman and Lois. He ends up being there and he needs to go back home. But I don't think there is metahumans on Superman and Lois's Earth. Now we do know that there are people with like XK, but like far as like humans with powers, you know what I mean, that came from other unexplainable sources. I don't think there is any metahumans that exist like that. And obviously, super left field, Black Lightning, he exists in his own universe. There's really no storyline for him to actually appear. So the most sensible character that I think they could use as a homage would be Supergirl. The second best option would be Flash, and then the third best option would be Oliver Queen. Now, like I mentioned, we did have Diggle appear before, but I don't think he's going to come back this time around. And if he does end up coming back and they do use him as the cameo, it could be for, something that they were working on, but they're going to leave it as a, cliffhanger sort of situation. What if he comes to the show and he's like, he fully embraced the Green Lantern Corps, he he accepted the invitation finally, and that leads to the Justice You sort of storyline that was supposed to be created. What if they do that? That will be kind of like extremely super left field, but it could possibly work. Now, like I mentioned with Sarah, she is another option that you could go with, but it'll have to be a story that wraps around that situation for her to actually appear. Now, she's supposed to be still on the Wave Rider, I think, or maybe she has exited the Wave Rider. We don't honestly know what could have possibly happened afterwards with that series. But what if she were to appear? It would make sense if she would like have the Wave Rider and maybe take Doomsday and put him at the end of time or put him on a deserted universe or some shit like that, just to make the plot make sense. Because they wouldn't need there wouldn't need to be a white canary just appearing out of nowhere, to be honest. You know what I mean? She'll have to be in her legends form for her to actually appear and to make sense with the story. Batwoman, you wouldn't skip over Batman. So if you're going to introduce someone, obviously you would go the route of Batman. Or if you do want to go down that route of Batwoman appearing, maybe she mentions Batman. I was sent by him to, to assist you. And Superman's just like, who is this him? He's like, he's my cousin. And then what if Superman's like, oh, hey, I got a cousin too? That would be super cool. You know what I mean? But obviously, everything I'm saying is just mere speculation, me assuming, me trying to connect dots that aren't actually there. But what is confirmed is that all of the particular characters that were tied with the Superman series, I guess from the previous season, they would be coming back from the final episode. So that could very much include Tal Rowe. Maybe he comes back from the other world because if I'm connecting dots as I'm normally doing here, we do know that Doomsday was trying to reopen that breach. What if he was just inches away from actually doing that before Lex came and attacked him? And what if Tauro is just like, you know what? I don't want to live on this other Earth anymore. Things aren't working out. He ends up coming through. He blasts a hole and he sees the other side where Doomsday was working, and he comes flying through and he helps Superman, and that'll be the final fight. Superman and Tauro teaming up to take on Lex and Doomsday. That will be super dope. I almost forgot about Tauro for a second, but I do think that as far as like anyone else appearing, like John Henry Irons in his suit, maybe he created another suit and this time he adopted the S. He added on the cape. That would be a nice little farewell for everyone to see that, especially with the Death of Superman storyline being adopted. It'll be really, really cool to pay homage to the character like that. Now, I did see a couple of things over on Twitter, of course, over on Reddit and Facebook as well. People were talking about Tom Welling's version appearing. I don't know. That's like a super far fetched stretch. You know what I'm saying? I do understand that they're trying to piece together a Death of Superman storyline, and it would make sense for like multiple Supermans to appear. But I don't think they have it in the budget to do something of that caliber. And then we don't know if Tom Welling is going to be suiting up in a suit because the last time we seen him was Crisis, and he actually wasn't Superman anymore because he gave up his powers for family. So yeah, so I just pretty much wanted to say all of that there. What do you guys think? Do you agree with some of the comments that I made? Do you disagree? Let me know down in the comment section. If you are fans of Superman and Lois, leave a like on this video. And don't forget, if you're new to the channel watching here for the very first time, please subscribe today. And I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace.
Tryna make my mama proud of me.
I hope my mama proud of me,
Cause I dubbed college just so I could focus on a dream.
I know my mama died of me, salute me, now she down with me.
Now two bros going back and forth, sibling rivalry.
Who this side gotta be, do numbers like the lottery. The coldest every winter, every summer, nothing hot as me.
And if I spring up, bet my nigga on the side of me, ready for a war.